is going on, FTI community? Welcome to the In Your Studio podcast presented by Brothers Brewing. In this week's session, I'm joined by the Canadian photographer who creates opportunities at every corner because of his phenomenal photography portfolio, William Isaak. I cannot stress just how inspiring Will's story is. He is only 3 years into his photography career, and he already has a lifetime of milestones. From pursuing his passion for photography from his admiration of cars, working alongside Guelph Subaru, collaborating with Worden Watch, there is something in this conversation for everyone to take away, and I hope you enjoy it. But before we get there, I want to let the FTI community know what they can expect at Brothers Brewing for the week of February 15th to 21st. On February 18th, test your music knowledge because down at Brothers, they are hosting a Guess That Song trivia night, and it starts at 8 p.m. On the 20th and 21st, Caraway Culinary is hosting a food pop-up, and their food is delicious. Also on the 21st, there is a huge concert happening at Brothers. It features 72 Ave, Amanda Bram, and Paper Cranes. The show starts at 8 p.m. and tickets are pay what you can. And one last thing, during the podcast session, keep your ears open because this is the final call to enter the giveaway for the Brothers Brewery gift card of $25. The giveaway ends on Friday, February 20th. All right, I won't take any more of your time. Enjoy this conversation with William. FTI community, I am joined by a photographer who is relatively early into his photography career, but he's already making huge waves in the local scene with his stunning shots. He is an avid car enthusiast who had the opportunity to combine his passion for photography with his love for cars and work alongside Subaru for the majority of 2024. He had the opportunity to work alongside the beloved FTI community artist Tyler Worden to bring a Worden Watch project to life, which we will talk a lot about. He is someone who is always looking to take on new challenges if it means it will enhance his skills as an artist. And all in all, he is someone that I am super thrilled to celebrate as a creator of the week at the beginning of 2026, because I know his future is just oh so bright. FTI community, please help me welcome William Isaak to the In Your Studio podcast. How has the new year been treating you, my friend?
New Year's been great. It's nice to have a new year, a new start to my business and how it's going. Yeah, trying to get back into it after the break.
Yes, sir. Has there been any moments in January already where you've been able to go on location?
No, nothing yet. I've shot just some like fun stuff for my friends at a cafe downtown, just some portraits, but no paid work so far.
My man, whether it's paid or it's for fun, it always brings your career one step forward. I think the really awesome thing about being an artist in Guelph is just how connected everybody is, which we're going to talk a lot about, but especially having friends who will always be like, and I guess in your case, like the model for your photos, because they're always going to want like, if they know a friend has a stunning camera and has the eye of a photographer to make them look like $1 million, I'm sure you're getting messages quite frequently like, hey, William, are you free this weekend? I could use some new shots for the socials. So whether it's paid, whether it's for fun, man, I'm sure there is a lot happening on your side of the world. And I can't hit to home. This has only been 3 years, like 3 years. That's how long you've been on your photography journey. And my friend, in those 3 years, you've accomplished a portfolio of someone who has been shooting for over 10. Whether it's car photography, street photography, brand photography, wedding photography, or just miscellaneous with your friends, you are consistently looking for new ways to evolve and get your name out there. But I want to begin this conversation by going to the man behind the lens. Introduce us to William Isaak.
Yeah, well, I'm a teenager going to high school still here in Guelph. Lived here my entire life. And just, one day in grade 10, I picked up a camera. One of my close friends works and does a lot of photography work. I'm like, wow, that seems cool. I'm going to go on Marketplace and spend hours searching for a good deal. And I picked up an old Sony camera and I just started shooting. And I just had just an absolute blast just finding random stuff to shoot. And I've always had a passion for cars. So I just started trying to reach out to companies and random people and just walk around trying to find cars to shoot. And it's been great. It's been actually a crazy journey. And I've met a ton of people, which has been absolutely amazing.
Especially in the city of Guelph, when you're always going to meet somebody doing something so cool. I would argue that the four corners of McCabe's brothers, Franks and Lorena, always have something going on, whether it's Cat Steve, she used to play ukulele in the corner there, whether it's brothers hosting an event like a Creators Connect, or whether it's just the nightlife and you're just walking down with your camera. I'm sure that you've met so many cool people that you've just become friends with because they're artists. Something that you brought up there that I want to get into was your beginning in photography, because a lot of people nowadays start using their phone as their camera. What made you do the actual handheld physical camera instead of trying your phone first?
I like, obviously I've taken photos with my phone just here and there, but I don't know, just the thought of there's just such a big gap between phone photography and like picking up a real camera and actually changing all your settings and all of that. And it just seems like if I actually wanted to do it, I should buy a camera, and it's more fun to have one dedicated thing. With phones nowadays, you just get distracted so easily. So even if you're walking around with your phone, you're gonna get random text messages and get distracted. So just having a camera and walking around with that is so much less stimulating, and you can really take a break from the phone and just, it's one thing that does the one thing that you want to do. So it's a lot of a disconnect, which I really liked about it.
Actual perfect like comparison there, when you have your phone that could have a 48 megapixel camera, but that phone's still going to show you notifications from your friends and distract you from what your mission is, and that's shooting photos. When you just have your handheld camera, the only thing that's stopping you is people around the street, and I won't even say they're stopping you to talk. They're just asking what's going on and what you're doing. I want to begin your photography career going almost back a little bit when you didn't even have the camera in your hand, really where your passion started for cars. Because something that stood out in this interview process was your roots to your passion. Your love for cars go way back to when you were a little kid going to car shows with your grandpa. And there are key moments that everyone has as a kid that becomes completely detrimental to their future. And that is proven with how easily you were able to fuse your love for cars and passion for photography and capture the eyes of many, including Subaru. Talk to the FTI community about your love for cars, especially with that family roots with your grandpa.
I don't really fully remember the first moment I just fell in love with cars, but I always remember going to like car shows in Georgetown with my grandpa, or walking down the street to see one of my grandpa's friends who had some old like Fords, and just like getting to spend that connection with my grandpa was really cool. And just the whole community around the car space is also just super cool. And I don't know, I think there's just some beauty about cars and the gasoline and there's all different niches and everything in there. It's just super interesting, and there's just a lot of passion. And I think, just cars are something really beautiful, depending what they are. Some brands I don't like, but I think there's just, there's something beautiful about how it works, and that we're able to like, I think it's absolutely crazy that we're in a hunk of metal and going like 200 kilometers per hour. Like, that's just like, how do we get there? And all the technology and all the engineering that's gone into these things, and made to look nice, but also extremely functional. And I think they're just, so beautiful. And there's like a romance to it, which is just amazing. Yeah.
When you were going to these car shows growing up with your family, and then you started going them by yourself with like your camera, do you remember the first car show you actually went to with like your camera 3 years ago, or maybe even 2 years ago, that really like solidified that moment of like, I want to do this? I don't care if I do it for money. I don't care if I do it for fun. I'm having fun because I'm where I enjoy being the most.
Yeah, I think one of the first ones was actually, I was like, how do I get car shoots? So I started messaging random people on Marketplace who were like selling their car. I'm like, do you want photos before you get rid of it? And this one guy was like, yeah, come to this car meet and you can take some photos before I sell my car. And I was like, okay, cool. So my dad drove me and one of my friends down to Hamilton, and we were part of this like charity car meet. And it was just like so cool to see how like these random people just connect over this one thing. And just like, I was walking around with my camera and everyone would talk to you, and like everyone would want to know, oh, hey, can I get the photos after? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think money was an option, or like, why would I charge for this? So I would just walk around with my camera, and then the editing process after is just fun, manipulating it. And I still go back to old photos now, and I'm like, I remember that. It's a memory I have now, and I re-edit it, and it's just so fun.
That is such a beautiful and unconventional way of getting your start. That Facebook Marketplace, a guy selling his car turned into you going all the way down to Hamilton. And it's exactly that, man. Like it's things that, like, I guess, like, I wouldn't even say steering you off the path because you're still at the very beginning. That, like, people go such a straightforward route that they're afraid of taking like risks, or they're afraid of going like off the path. But you literally created an opportunity off of Facebook Marketplace to now find yourself 3 years later with so many car shots under your belt. Again, you've worked with Subaru. When you had this opportunity to work with Subaru, how did that come about? And what did that, I guess, teach you as a photographer, especially working with cars every day?
Yeah. So I was like watching YouTube as you do when you pick up a new hobby, and just like going down that rabbit hole. And a lot of the recommendations was just go to car dealerships and ask them. So like I asked my mom to take me down to Subaru because we have a Subaru and I've always liked the cars. So she took me down there, and I just asked one of the salesmen who brought me to the general manager, and I was like, can I take one of your cars to take some photos? And like, yeah, we'll give you a salesman to take you out. So Seth is like my salesman who's taken me out on most of my car photo shoots. And I just have sent some emails, and he's taken me out on a bunch of different shoots. And I just walked in one day, and he was like, what car do you want to take? And I was like, I want to take the sportiest car. So we took out a BRZ, and we just went to some locations he knew about. And it was such a fun experience to just like actually have your first photo shoot, and not just shoot stuff on the street. So it was really fun to be a part of that. And the people at Subaru are just really amazing. They're really welcoming. So, yeah.
You create opportunities for yourself, and like, I'm sure you do not take no for an answer when it comes to finding these opportunities. Because like, wow, I could not imagine myself going into a place going like, hey, this is what I want to do. Can we do it? And like, you're just like, I'm going to be that person. I want to make sure that I'm walking into Subaru and I'm leaving with only yeses. From, I guess, Seth with Subaru, has he kind of also like maybe shown you the ropes on like where the typical car show might be in Guelph, some great hot spots to be on certain days, like a Friday or a Saturday or in the summer?
Yeah, so he actually did a photojournalism course throughout college, and so he's taught me stuff about photography, and just like we've talked about, he also, if you're part of the car photography community, he's met the car creative, who's a big car photographer out of Alberta, I believe, and he's worked with Subaru and Subaru Canada, working on their social media and stuff. So Seth learned stuff from him, which is super cool. So yeah, Seth has given me tons of locations that I've used for all my shoots pretty much. And yeah, he's been a big help in finding what I want to do and learning stuff.
Absolutely phenomenal. When you're on like the streets, just maybe on like a random Sunday afternoon, maybe like during the week when the town's becoming lively, what do you look for? Like, do you have a game plan or a mission you're on, or do you kind of just let the day happens as it happens?
I just kind of wander around, try to like, as it's gone on, as I've done it more, I've tried to wander down like little random smaller streets to see if there's anything. And even if it's not like, you're not finding many Lamborghinis out on the streets in Guelph, but there's cool stuff. Like I like Forerunners. I think they're really cool. And so I've shot some of those just on the street. But sometimes if you walk along like busier streets near the Hanlon, you can see some sports cars and get some cool photos there. But I don't usually have a game plan. I just put on a podcast or some music and just kind of wander around until I find something cool. Yeah.
I relay for survivors and their families.
I relay for my best friend Morgan's dad, Al, and my 2 cousins, Stephanie and Samantha.
I relay for my dad and for any families affected by cancer.
Relay for Life at the University of Guelph is an overnight event where students come together to celebrate survivors, remember loved ones, and raise money for the Canadian Cancer Society.
It's a night full of themed activities, food, music, and team spirit, all while walking the track to show that cancer never sleeps, and neither do we.
Register now using the QR code on the screen and check out our Instagram at UO Guelph Relay.
Do you have any stories or maybe moments that stick out to you doing just like, I guess, walking around with no game plan?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. One time I went out with one of my friends and we were searching for some cars, and we went over near the Red Brick, and there was this old Nissan Z60, or forget the model, 370Z. And we met, we were taking photos, and the owner came out and he let us get in his car and start it up. And even just that little thing, as a grade 10, get this guy coming out and letting us start up his car is super cool. And I haven't seen the guy since, but even that was such a cool experience to sit in the car and start up and hear the engine and get to talk to the guy. So it was a super cool experience getting that to happen.
Man, I can't stress enough, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record. It is crazy the opportunities that you're finding and creating for yourself. When we met for the first time at Creators Connect 2, I was so excited because Tyler's face and Stefano's face were so excited. And I saw you walk in, you were walking down the middle, and I was talking to Jake about Chlamydia. I was like, Jake, give me 1 second. I've been waiting to meet Will for so long. And just the connection that you had to Josh, who was also one of my best friends, shooting photos as well. I am so excited for when you get to come out to more FTI events. I'm not going to spoil when the next one is right now. I'm going to wait a little bit longer to talk about it. But I just think that, not that you are not already, because I do consider you already a big part of the FTI community. I just know that you're going to become such a bigger part of our everyday, day-to-day, because being a Guelph-based collective, I'm so excited for a random July, because usually on random days I get these ideas that are so ambitious, and I'm just I wonder if I can make that happen. And I already know between you, Stefano, and Josh that we're going to do some really incredible things. So hell yeah, I'm very excited, man. I want to shift this conversation away from cars, and I want to go to venues, more specifically weddings, because when you're able to be very, very, I guess, you're able to change on the fly, for lack of a better term, and you've had the opportunity to shoot the most memorable days for a handful of newlyweds, and I'm sure collaborating with other photographers at these events has just been as memorable for you too. Tell us about how you got into wedding photography and what really made you continue to I guess, do it when new opportunities rise.
Yeah, so I got in through it with working with Claire Therese through a co-op at school. So I've thought of co-op as just for the trades, blue collar stuff. But I found out that I could do a photography one. I was that would be a great opportunity to network with people and get into a new field. So I sent a bunch of emails out to Guelph photographers or Guelph wedding photographers, because there's not many car photographers in Guelph. So I sent a bunch of emails out, and Claire responded to me, and we worked for a whole semester together shooting weddings and engagements, and it's been an absolutely crazy experience. I've gone to Toronto and gone on a sailboat for an engagement photo shoot, which is something I was not expecting to happen during my high school experience. And it's been really cool to even go from cars to weddings and learning how to shoot people with a camera and edit that, and just that whole experience and the whole even the back end of it I learned about. So it was really all through Claire that I was able to do it. But I've worked with another wedding photographer who works at Pons, Miru, and we've gone to do a wedding together, and it's been really great to jump into a new field. Even if it's not my favorite thing, I get to learn something new, and I get to experience these really cool days with people, and the food's always great at weddings, which I really appreciate. So yeah, getting free food and getting to shoot photos for free is super fun, and I've had a ton of fun with it.
And the one thing about weddings is you're always going to catch people at their happiest because they're there to celebrate something, whether it's the actual couple getting married, family, friends, like everybody's in such a great mood. So it's almost like it's an infinite opportunity to continue building your networking, because if they know you're on location with your camera, they maybe have something going on later that year where now they have a photographer for that they didn't even know existed that morning. When you compare the world of car photography to wedding photography, what kind of stands out between the two? And dumb question to ask, would you always choose, like, I guess, car over wedding?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like more community in the car photography space, just because you're getting to, like, even owners of their cars are photographers because they love their car, so they take photos of it, so you can connect with them on that as well. And I think there's more of a community in the car community, and that just like plays in really quickly to photography. And like car photography, I think, is a lot more accessible than wedding photography, because not many couples are hiring like kids just straight out of high school and like with no experience. So car photography is a lot more accessible, I would say, and just there's a bigger community. But wedding photography is super fun, and if you're a people person and love to chat and all that, I think it's great, and you get to go to some cool spaces and cool venues. So that's been really cool with that. For me, I would always choose the cars. I find it a lot easier. I don't have to. I'm more of an introverted person, so I find it easier to pose a car, which is an inanimate object, than a person. So I've been able to have more fun with car photography rather than wedding photography, but I still have a lot of fun with both, and just always taking photos is a fun time for me.
Man, your passion just radiates. Like you're very happy to talk about it, and you're very excited to talk about it. So it's an easy tell for me and anybody listening right now that, like, just photography not only being your passion as an artist, but like definitely a driving force on what makes you you. And I find that no matter how passionate you can be about an art, it always needs to connect to the person behind it, as opposed to just a hobby you pick up. When you were to, I guess, actually, let's go right into it. We've covered cars, we've covered weddings, and now my next thing we're going to cover is your connection to the beloved FTI community member who's also making waves both locally and internationally. Of course, if this sweater lets me take it off, I am talking about Mr. Tyler Worden himself of Worden Watch. You have the opportunity to collaborate with Tyler on his most recent one-of-one bubblegum jellyverse Worden Watch as the visionary behind the photography, no doubt. Give me 1 second as I bring up this text message I've received from Tyler in preparation for this podcast. I asked Tyler just, what was it like? I asked him a lot more because Tyler knows I send a huge message just to get my point across. I just basically said, like, what did you think? He's like, the collaboration process. Actually, I'll leave the collaboration process to you because I want to hear the story from your eyes. Then we'll really get back to this. But when he said about your approach to photography, he said from the beginning, you wanted to create a world that the watch lived in, including a character and a setting taken action. This added incredible depth to your work beyond just product shots. The viewer can now relate or fantasize about being the character in that setting wearing the watch and experiencing the feelings portrayed through photography. Tyler is a big guy for things need to make sense. Things need to have a reason to be there. And for Tyler to notice that in you, I think that's the win. I wholeheartly, I think when Tyler's able to make that the call out, the standout of your collaboration, it goes way past just product shots, as Tyler said. From your perspective, how did this collaboration come to be?
Yeah, I've noticed he's followed me for a while, and I eventually was like, what else can I do? And I started I had an Apple Watch for a long time, and I was eventually like getting annoyed with it. I'm like, you know, it'd be really nice to have a real watch. And I saw him like pop up on my like posts, and he liked my post. And I'm like, who's this? So I clicked him, and I was like, maybe I should just send a message and say, do you want a free shoot? Do you want to like do something together? And he said, yeah, absolutely. And we met and had coffee, and we had a huge, super long chat about what it would be like and what he had for me. And I had a really fun time just like coming up with ideas with him. He's super creative, and a super nice guy. And he's like, yeah, giving me a lot of insight about my business as well. So I really like that about him. And it was super, super fun to get to have a chat with him and come up with this whole idea for the photo shoot with him.
Tyler is the one man who always says yes. He wants everybody to always say yes and find a way for it to happen. At his Creators Connect 1 guest speaker, he was the first guest speaker. His whole conversation for the community was about just saying yes. So I'm sure when you guys met, it was almost like it was bound to happen, whether it was this Bubblegum Jellyverse Worden Watch or down the line when he has another signature series launching hopefully this year. Because the coolest thing about Tyler is exactly what you said. He gives you insight to your brand as well, instead of just making it all about Worden and Worden Watch. Because Tyler wants to watch everybody succeed. He wants to be sure everybody gets their flowers. During the shoot, what was that like? Did you guys like have a specific I guess storyboard or storyline in mind that really brought the watch to life?
Yeah, so we planned out some shots during the day and drew some just examples up, and then we planned for the shoot from a week out from there. And I made a mood board. I came up with ideas and drew them out in more detail of what the shots would look like. And yeah, just like one night we just went out when there's just a little bit light left. And we went out and just went through down each list. We started in his studio and got some like detail shots. And then we went out and we were trying to go with the bubblegum theme and find some graffiti where he got the inspiration for the bubblegum from, and just try to like paint the picture of the watch and putting it in its location. And so it was super fun to just walk around downtown Guelph and take some photos of it.
I can't wait to see what is next for you two, because Tyler is a visionary. He has such a creative way of thinking that can include so many people on it. So I am more than confident that's not the first collaboration between you two. When it comes to more outside of the Worden Watch world and kind of go into like the Guelph art scene, I bet you can agree with me when I say it's an absolutely thriving scene that's that features like supremely talented artists and generous individuals, best when they're both collective, always looking to boost each other up and find opportunities to get involved with one another. What's your experience working with, like, I guess, like specifically the Guelph art scene? Do you have any people who have been important with your journey so far?
Mostly like Claire was the big one and the person I learned a lot from. I also was able to, one night I was walking downtown, it was late, and I ran into Stefano, hometown shooter, just randomly, and I saw he had a camera. I was like, oh, hey man, how's it going? And we just had a quick conversation as he was rushing off to a concert shoot, and I got his Instagram, and we've kind of chatted back and forth over a year and a bit, and he's given me some insight about it and about my business and how to run it. And he's been it's been super great to talk with him because he's got a lot of insight about how to get started and just like going out there and talking to people. So I think that was a really cool experience to just run into a random guy with a camera on the street one day.
Stefano not only doubles as my best friend, but he is also my go-to photographer. And I have a group chat with him and our mutual friend named Hunter Average James. And they are the brains behind FTI alongside me. They see the same video 5 or 6 times with minimal changes, and they will notice these changes. And that's what you look for when you find like a group of artists, is to always make sure what you're putting out that like the blind eye can see, or maybe somebody who's not really paying attention, but that will stand out. Stefano is a man for the people. I think that guy deserves all of his flowers. I think that him approaching you on the street, or you approaching him because he has a camera, again, one of those moments that had to have happened and was going to happen, because he is a fountain of knowledge. And the way he's able to connect his personality to his photography mix them into one. He produced those Instagram reels where he was just doing random photo shoots for random people walking. And that just goes to show you like the levels and exactly what you said, the community behind photography. Like nothing but flowers for Stefano. I do encourage you to go on just a random walk with him one day. He loves just going for walks with photographers, going on like a mutual shoot, because that man, again, fountain of knowledge and always, always, always a good time. Stefano, if you're listening, I love you, brother. I'm sure you're listening and you're going to send me a text message at this time. Yeah. Man. This next question is brought to you by our incredible podcast partner and my favorite Guelph brewery, Brothers Brewing. You attended the most recent Creators Connect event in December, and you were exposed to just a small portion of the phenomenal artists and individuals who live in Guelph. Whether you're an artist, a fan of independent artists, Brothers Brewing is the place to see what's going on in the community. Now, the question for you here, if you were to plan an event where you could make anything happen, there's no limits, there's no no's, even if there was a no, you're somebody that makes them all yeses, what would that event look like? Maybe it's a car show, it's a concert, or maybe you mix the two worlds together. What would an event look like?
Yeah, so if you're in the car scene, Life Through Optics is a big car photographer, and he's based out of Australia. And I've seen a lot of events that he's pulled off, it's kind of like a photo walk, but he brings cars out to like a location, and he just brings a ton of photographers there. And then I think there's also like different courses he runs, which would be super cool to hear like myself speak or other people speak and talk about photography and how to get into it in the car scene, or even just like doing like having some models as well, and having like different workshops would be really cool to have an event like that happen where we can bring a car to a cool location or bring some people to a cool location and just like shoot as the community of photographers in Guelph.
Absolutely stellar. I think the greatest place for that would be I think it's the Riverside Pavilion with that big concert shell. That would probably be the best place for something like that to happen. Yeah. Or just a random parking lot in the south end of Guelph. But I'm on board with the Riverside idea there. Now that we've talked about your car photography, wedding photography, I want to go into something that is kind of a niche because it involves making you choose maybe a niche of photography you're not experienced with at all. Is there a realm that you want to bring yourself to work with this year? Maybe it's like an actual like commercial brand. Maybe it's like legitimately just shooting a YouTube video for a YouTuber, a content creator. Where do you want to bring your skills this year?
I've wanted to for a while work with like outdoor brands and like do like more outdoor stuff. So working for like North Face or Arc'teryx or even like knife companies would be sick, and bringing those and putting the items in their environment, like going on a hike and shooting like a North Face jacket or something would be really cool to have that experience, even if it's not a paid experience. But like I'd love to just be able to showcase a piece of clothing or a tool in its environment and have that kind of shoot, which is something I would really like to do going on in the future. And even if I didn't do car photography, I would love to do more like product photography, but more travel and product photography together.
Have you shot your shot with any of these brands or ideas yet?
I have not. I have shot some photos of my SOG knife and the company reposted it, but other than that, not yet. I've been scared because it's sometimes hard when they don't respond and you don't know what to do. So yeah. Put
a pin in this date, FDI community, because the next time you see William Isaak, he will have accomplished all of this. A little side story. I used to be a photographer 6 years ago, and I was trying to do like Funko photography with the little collectible guys, the Funko Pops, and then I was also doing a little bit of food photography. So I remember when COVID happened and we were all stuck inside, I got some President's Choice waffles, President's Choice syrup, and I like staged like a making process inside my kitchen. And the President's Choice Instagram account runner, been 6 years. They probably been through a handful of social media marketers by then. they were keeping up to date with FTI just because of one photo I took of their waffles. And so it's moments like that where you don't know whose eyes you attract to continue watching what you're doing. I encourage you, even though you don't need the encouragement, to reach out to these brands because, man, anything is possible, and you have proven it. Heading towards the end of the conversation here, this next question is the staple of the In Your Studio podcast. It revolves around vulnerability. As a photographer, something I'm sure you're accustomed to is capturing people in vulnerable states. And also, I guess it is an honest fact that when you meet with someone to take photos of, they're sometimes to themselves, their arms are, they're not comfortable in the photography yet. And your role as a photographer is to make them comfortable, make them loose, make them laugh so you can get those like really candid shots. How does vulnerability approach the way you do, I guess, you shoot photos? Or does it even like come to mind?
Well, all last summer and all this coming summer, I'm working at a summer camp called OPC, Ontario Pioneer Camp. And I work as one of the photographer at boys camp there. And I think you really have to get candid shots. And even like, when you have to get a group shot and you still want them to smile, especially when you have a big camera and these kids are kind of intimidated by you because you're pointing this huge camera at them. Just like trying to make them laugh, just like jokes, even if it's about yourself. That's a big thing for me, is just making fun of myself through jokes, and that gets people laughing, or just being a little goofy even when I don't want to be, to like trying to like make them laugh or smile even a little bit is something really important. And just there's also like at Ontario Pioneer Camp, it's a Christian camp, so there's a lot of like worship time, and just trying to capture like moments during that is like really crucial to what I'm doing. And so like just trying to like always be looking for that one moment where someone's having a very vulnerable moment and trying to capture it with more of a in the background, because you don't want to bring them out of it, but you also still want to capture the moment.
Have you had the opportunity at like the summer camp or maybe like on the streets where you've also like learned something about yourself with the way you're, I guess, capturing someone else? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like my way of, I'm, as I said, I'm more of an introverted person. So like even trying to like build a personal connection with a person before you take photos of them is important, and just like try to be vulnerable so you build that connection with them and share about yourself. Because yes, there's also someone behind the camera as well, and they have to recognize it's like we're doing this together. When I take a photo of you, it's not just you and it's not just me, it's us together. So doing it through that and just trying to make it a team effort, if that makes sense.
That is the perfect way to put it. Because a lot of people forget that there is somebody on the other side of the lens because they're focused on the subject in the photo. And I think the best photos come from a dynamic duo that are working together in unison. That's actually why Stefano is usually my go-to photographer in past FTI campaigns and events, is because he knows what FTI is. He knows the people at the events, and I can just trust him to break anybody's shell in the most Stefano way possible. And that's the highest compliment ever, because that man just knows how to do it. And I'm so excited to work with you in the future too, because I'm sure there's going to be moments where somebody kind of like is standing there. They don't really want their photo taken, but you break the ice, and now you're making sure that this event is that collaboration between the person getting the photo taken and you as the photographer. Beautiful answer, my friend. That was beautiful. I want to pick your brain a little bit more about some of your portfolio. Maybe it's in the shots that you have sent me as this past Creator of the Week has rolled on. What are some of the standout shots that you have in your portfolio, or what do you look for, I guess, when it comes to like taking your signature shot?
Yeah, so over the past, like I haven't been doing photography for a while, so like editing styles changed a lot for me. Really, when I started out, I was doing like the moody, very like dark edits, and I've tried to like move away from that and making it more realistic. And I've also, working through Claire, she edits very warm, and I've also started to add a little bit more warmth to my photos and trying to get like really focused on golden hour. So one of the the sets of photos I have in there is from a photo shoot I did with Jake, who owns a lowered GR86, and we brung up to a parking garage at sunset, and we got some super cool like sunset golden hour shots, and just trying to add my like warmth into there through the editing. And I really enjoyed that shot. That was actually after I upgraded my camera, and I was just wanting something to do. So I sent him a message, and we went out on a photo shoot, and he brought his friend with him. And those are some of my favorite photos still to this day, just because they're super crisp and super clean. And I really like the colors on them. They really, really popped. Just my editing styles changed a lot. So just trying to find how to work through that. Because I don't know, you have to put that little bit of yourself into your photos and show yourself through the editing, because you can show yourself through the photo, but editing is such a big process of your photography. Just trying to show yourself through that. And I've tried to, throughout the years, add a more cohesive look to all my photos, even if it's cars and or weddings. Just trying to get that like one cohesive look. So throughout my portfolio, I'm trying to keep that consistent and keep the looks the same.
And what's awesome is being only about 3 years in on your journey so far, I'm sure 3 years from now, you're going to have like that consistency to like your signature William Isaak style, but you're also going to notice probably a huge change as you pick up maybe a new camera, a new lens. Your creative mindset changes on how you want to approach something. I'm very excited, because I think that not even staying in the Guelph bubble, you have like your Toronto car shows, you have car meets in other cities. You can honestly tour Canada with this, you can tour the world with this, and you'll always bump into something new. When it comes to exploring outside of Guelph, is there a place you want to bring your camera to next?
Anywhere that looks like mountains. I would love to bring a car to a mountain range and get some photos with a sports car in a location it shouldn't be in, or like bring a car, like we're covered in snow right now, and bringing like a sports car out in the snow would be super cool. I saw a Facebook post the other day of a guy with a GT3 RS out in the Canadian snow, and that kind of photo shoot where bringing a car where it shouldn't be is really interesting. So either if it's like a mountain range or out in the snow with a sports car would be super cool to be able to do.
You gotta make it happen. That would be so awesome. You gotta make that happen. These final 3 questions for you may be some of the most thought-provoking questions from this entire conversation. So as I roll them in, again, you can take as long as you want to think about these, or you can just straight fire them and we can leave more in the comments down later. Not limited to one medium. Choose as many as you would like. Put the FTI community onto some new things to check out. Does not have to be independent artist related. It can be anything you're checking out. Music, films, books. What are you into right now?
I am into coffee. I am super obsessed with specialty coffee. I made a story the other day asking people if I should make some coffee content. So I've really enjoyed, the Guelph community has also some really cool coffee shops. So if I brought my photography to a coffee shop, that would be pretty cool. And just exploring the really big world of coffee that there is.
I'm a huge coffee consumer. Although I only drink one coffee, and that's black coffee. I will drink any blend, any roast, but I share that love as well. Now I'm kind of curious, what are some coffee shops in Guelph? Because I have not been to a handful.
Yeah, so one of my favorites is Canoe. They're over near the Woolly.
Okay.
They've got like some really nice like pour overs, really expensive pour overs as well. Found Coffee over Daniel Balzac's. They're also really good, a specialty coffee shop. I believe they're mostly Australian types of brewing. Red Brick, that's the classic one that everyone loves. Really anything. I've just trying to try anything, and moving away from more traditional coffee like darker roasts and trying like these coffees that don't even taste like coffee has been super interesting. So Canoe is one I would definitely check out. But yeah.
Oh man, I've always wanted to try Canoe and Lost Aviator.
Yeah.
I wanted those two are on my coffee bucket list for Guelph. I always find myself in that Tim Hortons drive-through, and I just know there's so much better coffee to be drinking in Guelph, and I always find myself at Tim Hortons. So yeah, you have my word. By the end of February, I'll have a status update on Canoe and Lost Aviator. Now, flipping it over to the independent artist scene, name an artist, a collective you recommend the FTI community to check out.
Absolutely, Tyler Worden.
Yes,
I love his watches. They're so interesting. It's not something I've yeah, exactly. I've never seen a watch style like that before, and I think what he's doing is super interesting. And even his content, I've loved his most recent content where it's really slowed down and really like a deep like a background behind the scenes look into his studio has been super cool, and he's an absolutely great guy. So definitely check that out and look at his watches if you can afford one. Yeah.
FTI community, if you don't know Tyler Worden yet, this is your opportunity to go learn about Tyler, because we love him over here at FTI. I think the greatest thing Tyler does with his creative mind is this video series that you're mentioning, his most recent few posts, is he's really made it like a fly on the wall approach where you're just watching the room live. Not necessarily just him, but like what's happening in that room. And that adds so much more to the brand, because Worden Watch is more than just a watch. It's honestly like a life. It's a lifestyle. This final one, my friend, it might be the hardest one for you. I'm going to give you the floor. The curtains are up. The show is over. Plug yourself. Where can the FTI community find you? How do they get in contact with you to book a photo shoot?
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram is my main one. I also just launched my website, still updating the portfolio and adding new photos as I do more shoots. So you can contact me through there. My email is on my Instagram and my website. Any way you can find contact with me. I have business cards floating around with people. But yeah, Instagram's the main one. I feel like everyone's always on Instagram, and it's a great place to see all my photos. And if you scroll back, you can see some of the places I started and the crappy photos I had, but you can see where I am now as well. So that's the main place to find me on Instagram.
And I want to hit to home to everybody listening at this moment. This week we have celebrated William Isaak from a Monday to a Friday, but we're going to celebrate him absolutely every single day going forward. Of course, I want everybody to go tune in right to his portfolio over on Instagram and his website. Watch the Creator of the Week video we published earlier this week, because this man's photography will blow you away. Quick side note shout out to my girlfriend's brother, Sean. He owns, oh my goodness, I'm bad with my cars. He owns a BMW. He has always taken photos of his car with his phone. I think I've now found the connection to make sure he ditches the phone and has actual great shots of his BMW. So Sean, be on the lookout for a message from William. I have been Matt of FTI Studios. Thank you so much, William, for allowing us to celebrate you all week and kind of pick your brain about how what your world is all about. And I hope that everybody has one absolute great day, great night, or whatever time you're listening to this. Take care.